Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody tuning in for another Supatease PvP walkthrough. And in this one, I'm playing a Mistweaver monk going up against a cleave, in particular an arms warrior and a demon hunter. Now, as a healer, especially a beginning one, these compositions can be rough. With two melee classes, they can run you down. It's a bit of a panic attack because they bring a lot of instant cast stuns and burst damage, and you need to be ready to react to the damage and trade efficiently. Otherwise, you're going to burn your defense too quickly and end up going down. So it's very important to stay calm and have a plan ahead of time so that you're not just panicking and reacting to all of the damage that is really thrown at you. So the first thing that you want to do against this composition is identify who is it that they want to kill. Now, typically, if you're playing with a Shadow Priest, that is a vulnerable target for a melee cleave because they can't move very fast. And targets that don't move very fast are usually great targets for melee classes because they don't like getting kited and they don't like having their damage be avoided. So if you got a class on your team that doesn't have mobility, that's most likely going to be the first target that they're going to go after. Either way, you want to set down your portal, you want to get your statue, and I like to use the Thunder Focus T on Renewing Mist so they're the longest duration possible, and immediately I see the Shadow Priest as the target, so I'll use an Enveloping Mist, and I kind of duck around the corner. I'm preempting crowd control and trying to get ready for it. So the crowd control that they could start with is an Incapacitate. I sort of lead the charge myself by rolling in and looking for a leg sweep. I managed to land it on 2 players, but I see Metamorphosis. This is a powerful cooldown, and I immediately get out of there. That is the reaction you have to do, because they could swap to me. I use some mobility aggressively, which means they're likely to stay on me as a target. As soon as I saw that powerful cooldown, Transcendence portal away, then I left my Shadow Priest out in the open, so who are they going to hit? The guy that just portaled 60 yards away or the guy that's next to them? So you got to look at where your team is. My Shadow Priest is the most vulnerable target of this type of composition, and he was right on top of him, so they're immediately going to attack him. So rather than heal myself after porting, I move in position to start healing my Shadow Priest, as he is expected to take a lot of damage. I do my best to keep up Enveloping Mist, however that is very mana intensive, as I think you will see later into the fight. We're really just trying to bait trinkets before I go for a Way of the Crane play. My Way of the Crane in this composition is either to recover when I'm interrupted and being attacked, or my Way of the Crane is used aggressively to find a kill. So I'm really sitting on it for a perfect opportunity. Paralysis is up and I move in for crowd control, but we do an overlap of crowd control, and this is an error. You do not want to overlap Paralysis and that Psychic Aura. You want to chain them together. I then try my best to salvage that situation by Ring of Piecing the Mistweaver on his cast and then trying to burst down the target. But as you can see, if you do not have crowd control on the healer, nothing's taking any damage. And because I spent a lot of time aggressive, they immediately try to punish me. So when I'm being attacked, I portal away, I use my elixirs, and I try and move out of line of sight. Now this is pretty scary, I'm really low, so I'm using all of my instant cast healing, my elixirs, my revival. It could have been debated that I could have used Life Cocoon almost entirely on its own and saved revival for a heal later on. I did end up using quite a lot there, and it may have been the wiser move, because then I could have saved Fortifying Brew for an attack on myself later on. In the meantime, my team is carrying aggressively, and my main goal is to just kite the Demon Hunter and sort of eliminate him from the fight so that he doesn't try and crowd control anyone. Unfortunately, he does, and the enemy team survives that attack that we initiated with Life Cocoon, but they're falling behind. Still, the Demon Hunter has got pressure on me. I've got my portal here, and I don't really want to stand right on my portal because I need to be able to portal out of line of sight at the end of a stun so I can recover and not deal with any interrupts. In the meantime, they're doing a bit of a split strat, which can be a little more annoying. I keep Enveloping Mist on the target the warrior is hitting because he reduces healing, whereas I keep only the Renewing Mist on myself unless I see the warrior attack. But the warrior charges, I portal out of line of sight, and I immediately duck around the corner and relay my portal. It's important that you put it down again because it'll switch positions. You always want to remember to do that. If you don't, you might accidentally end up portaling into the middle of the map, and I kind of do that a lot too, but you'll die if that happens. So definitely make sure you remember to relay the portal. And I'm focused on just kiting back and forth. The reason that I'm going out in the open back and forth is because I'm playing a wizard cleave, so my DPS can attack the warrior now who's moved into the middle of the map trying to chase me. And if anything, I should be bringing the Demon Hunter into line of sight of my Elemental Shaman so that he can be hexed. I see the monk roll, or the Demon Hunter and warrior roll up on me, and I immediately Life Cocooned preemptively. So against a melee cleave, you need to always be looking at positioning. Where are they at? Where are both the melee? So I saw the warrior use a gap closer. He doesn't have a lot of those, and he wants to hit somebody when he's connecting, so he may stun you immediately after a gap closer, so I choose to preemptively activate a defensive cooldown. In that case, it was Life Cocoon, and because I didn't have a trinket, if I get stunned with no trinket and they connect, I may die. So you have to preemptively activate a cooldown on a move like that, and you're only going to be able to do it if you're keeping the enemy DPS in your peripheral vision. Here I set up some crowd control, and I go for a Way of the Crane. You can see that I'm only using Way of the Crane with Mana Tea, otherwise it is far too expensive of a spell, but with that extra added damage and the punish of the fear on the trinkets, we were able to do more than enough damage to end the match. So you're going to be looking for those openings aggressively when you have Mana Tea and Way of the Crane available. If you need to use Way of the Crane defensively, you want to use it when you're interrupted. That's the best time to do it, especially when there's a cleave attacking you. But in general, you want to just keep everybody in your field of view so that you can see when they're swapping to you, and try and preemptively activate a Fortifying Brew. That's the first number one play you should try and do whenever you see them swapping to you. And you don't want to be aggressive unless you've got a crowd control chain available, so you need to communicate that to your team. I've got paralysis, do you want a cyclone? I've got paralysis, do you want a polymorph? I've got a paralysis, do you want a stun? So communicate that with your team, and only move aggressively when you have a chain. And if you've got a chain and you've got Mana Tea Crane, activate that, go right after the DPS and burst him down. Other than that, I hope that this guide was helpful to you. I've been enjoying my Mistweaver quite a lot. I've grinded it up to, I think, just about Gladiator rating now on my second day playing. I've been enjoying it a lot more and more as I get into it. Way of the Crane is definitely something you got to get used to. But when you get used to it and you see these openings and you start pinpointing them, you're going to have a lot of fun with it, I think. So I hope that you guys are having a great day. I'll see you on the next one. Please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell. I'm making guides every single day, just spitting them out like clockwork. I really want to get as much information out to everybody as possible so that we can all step up our game. We can all enjoy a higher level of competition amongst everyone, and that is my main goal. So if you have any ideas for videos, any feedback for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Leave that in the comments down below. I always read them, and I'll see you on the next video. See ya.